a lot of Western Campus. So that's where I represent.
It's time to meet the mayor and council, yeah!
So there was an open seat, and I wanted to represent my neighbors and my friends and just I've always been civically minded, so that's why I ran. I would like to see buildings completed, like projects that we've started, brought to completion. I would like to work on more educational just projects that will supplement the education of our students and environmental issues, keeping our city environmentally sound and keeping green spaces still in the city. I love a lot about College Park because I've lived here all my life. My parents moved here when I was 2 years old. I had a short time at the University of Delaware, and my husband and I lived in Greenbelt for a little while, but then we moved back. So what I love about College Park is just the diversity, just all the different kinds of things you can do here, the trails, the people, and the fact that it has this small town kind of feeling about it, like you can know your neighbors. I homeschooled for 26 years, and then I had my own business, and now I'm retired, and so primarily I take care of my mom and my family. Both. My family laughs at me, but I like 1 cup of coffee, iced, and I like all kinds of teas. I love the fact that we have so many different restaurants in College Park, so I couldn't tell you one that I always go to, but I like Taqueria Habanero a lot, and I like Tacos a la Madre because I love tacos. So I'm very diverse with the movies that I watch because I had 4 boys, so I learned to really love Star Wars and the Lord of the Rings and the science fiction kind of movies that the boys love. But then I also have a daughter, and so we like to watch rom-coms together. And I definitely like old like Jane Austen, Jane Eyre, the older stories. So, although some of the newer ones are kind of funny too. So, I think I did all right. Okay, good.
So now you've met the
January 7th, 2025, the first of the year 2025. Happy New Year to everyone. I'm calling to the order of the regular meeting of the College Park City Council, College Park, Maryland. We'll begin the meeting with a moment of silent meditation, followed by Pledge of Allegiance. Tonight, this will be led by Councilmember Hernandez. Council, do you want to add anything to the meditation?
Yes, can we please remember the families of the victims of the attack in New Orleans?
Certainly, very timely. Anyone else?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, this is Ms. Mitchell. Can we remember the victims that in Laurel? Unfortunately, the shooting in Laurel.
Certainly. Thank you, Councilor Rigg.
Yeah, it's also a somber night because we're celebrating on Thursday the death of former President James Earl Carter, Jimmy Carter, who was an inspiration to many of us. So hold him in our thoughts as well.
Thank you. I certainly remember. Seeing none, please join me in a moment of silent meditation. Councilmember Hernandez.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
And to the
republic which it stands, one under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Roll call starting with District 1, Councilmember Hernandez.
Present.
Councilmember Alan Hugh.
Present.
District 2, Councilmember Dr. Esters.
Present.
Councilmember Whitney.
Here.
District 4, Mayor Pro Tem Mitchell.
Present.
Councilmember Mackey.
Here.
And District 3, Councilmember Adams.
Here.
And finally, Councilmember Rigg.
Here.
Fantastic. So we'll do the announcement and comments. So I'd like to take this opportunity to thank a couple of people and group of people first, and also acknowledge something very important that is very special for tonight. First of all, I'd like to thank the fantastic work of our Public Works department and all the fantastic
Recording in progress.
all the hardworking crews they have given to the community. They worked 24/7, round the clock, and I had the opportunity to see some of them yesterday, and I saw that some of them worked overnight non-stop just to keep us safe. And thank you, our city manager, Mr. Young, and also Public Works Director, Robert Marsili, for your leadership. I know you've been there at the Public Works building all the time, working very hard. Thank you. Can you all give them a big round of applause for all the good work they have done? They deserve it. And also like to take this opportunity to thank the many volunteers who have put their time and energy to help our senior citizens and people in need. In particular, the helpers, Neighbors Helping Neighbors, did so much good work in partnership with the College Park Boy Scouts and I believe 740 Troop, and also many volunteers. They took care of many of our homes, especially senior citizens' homes, and also want to recognize some of my colleagues. Actually, they did a fantastic job. Councilmember Rigg, you did a very good job. Not alone yourself, but your kids, the boys, you're in full force. And some of the council members, please forgive me if I did not include everyone. I know Councilmember Alan Hill, he did a fantastic job yesterday, and also Dr. Esters, you are very busy as well. So thank you all for your hardship. Sorry, your good work and hard work. I have invited someone from the Neighbors Helping Neighbors later tonight and during the comment section She will be coming and speaking as well. So with that, one last thing before I ask Councilman Hernandez to start the announcement and making comments. Tonight also is a very important night because tonight is the last meeting night when our colleague and council member of District 3, Mr. Adams, Stuart Adams, will be having his last meeting, and it's a special night. So we'll be having a special event later when the new council of District 3 will be swearing in I believe in early March. At that time, we'll be having a formal recognition of Mr. Adams. But tonight also is an opportunity for us to express our feelings. I know all of us are very sad, but it's a bittersweet moment for us. I wish him all the best. So there's an opportunity. Please use this opportunity to express your feelings about Mr. Adams' hard work and his contribution to the community. Mr. Rigg, do you have anything?
Yeah, I'd love to offer a few words. I think, Mr. Adams has been an incredibly hardworking and thoughtful colleague. His diligent work has broken new ground from a policy perspective on many new fronts, and moved us forward in ways that I didn't anticipate we would ever move forward. And it was due to his energy, his determination, and his intellect that we were able to do that. Mr. Adams, Stu, is also a friend of mine and a neighbor of mine, as he is to many residents in District 3, or at least in the Calvert Hills neighborhood of District 3, where he's often seen, walking his dog Callie through the neighborhood or hanging out with his kids. And although it is going to be difficult to not have him, up on the dais, virtual or otherwise, because tonight it's virtual, for the foreseeable. It is a comfort to know that Stu will continue to be a part of our life, continue to be a thoughtful voice in our civic life. If anything, I believe he's receiving a promotion tonight because, all of us in elected positions in the city, owe our first debt of gratitude, but also our first debt of loyalty to the residents of the city of College Park. So Stu is upgrading his position from elected official to resident of the city of College Park, and congratulations on the re-promotion, Stu. We're going to miss you very, very much in this body.
Certainly. So I'm sure that all of us want to have some feelings, and also please include your announcements in your comments. So let me go back to District 1 again. I will go District 1, Mr. Hernandez, Councilman Hernandez, and then 2, 3, and 4. Mr. Hernandez.
Yeah. I'm confused. I'm doing comments and I'm doing the.
Yeah, please. It's a time for announcements and comments as well. Yes.
Well, I mean, I guess we'll start with my, thanks, Councilmember Adams. I think more than anyone, I've learned to appreciate how, the awesome responsibility of having one of these roles, just in this, I guess the recency effect of it all. And it's been a good time, tackling some difficult issues and debating them, and I think from my perspective, you've taught me how to argue better, and I really do appreciate that because it moves us forward. I know that we haven't always seen eye to eye on things, but I definitely understand and respect the awesome responsibility of really coming into the arena and assuming one of these council member positions, because it's challenging in every single direction, and all you're trying to do is just help the community in a productive way. I wish you the best of luck, and I'm sure this is not the last time that we will see you. I'm sure that you'll you'll use the podium well to let us know when we're going in one direction or the other. I'm just going to transition into comments, but I'll start off with thanking the city staff, particularly the public services staff director Kokar and Major Coletti for the December 17th ad hoc crime meeting up in District 1. There was many residents that attended and had the opportunity to kind of hear a little bit about some of the current activities, how policing is done, and then offer direct feedback, questions, suggestions, and comments to our policing apparatus. I think it was good for both folks to be in person, hearing one another out, and I think there's a lot of room for growth and opportunities for those sort of discussions. I got a sense of encouragement from the residents to want to continue to engage and hopefully take us into a better direction. I did hear from many residents that they understood from a perspective that comparing to the surrounding municipalities and unincorporated areas that College Park was by perspective safer. They also used that opportunity to provide feedback of some ways that we could provide city-specific data. So looking forward to being able to do that. Separately, Happy New Year's to everyone. The North College Park Civic Association will be meeting this Thursday at 7:30 at Davis Hall. They're going to be talking about something pretty exciting in asking us, council, to prioritize extending the trolley trail into farther north. And I only say farther north just for you, Councilmember Adams. But yeah, just farther north. But really it's into North College Park. So right now, as many may know, it ends right there at Baltimore or 193. The idea that are being discussed is to try to see that extend all the way through the city. Looking forward to having a robust conversation and welcome anyone who wants to attend. But we'll definitely make sure to back brief you all. Aside from that, I'll just close with the fact that we're super grateful for all of the public works staff and volunteers, Neighbor Helping Neighbors, the Cub Scouts, Councilmember Hugh out there. It's super great to see the community come together. I'll note that even on the new sidewalk of Hollywood, there was a lot of neighbors, just getting used to the idea of going there. So really appreciate everyone's communicative manner approaching this winter storm. Thank you.
Yeah, wonderful. Let's go to Councilmember Alan Hill. Mr. One.
Hi, thank you very much. So Councilmember Hernandez mentioned a lot of things I was going to mention already. But yes, thank you for the staff, public works staff, for clearing the roads. I drove around today to make sure there were no issues and to no big surprise. There were no issues. Everything was handled very well. Spent many hours last night with the Troop 740, Boy Scout Troop 740, shoveling out the seniors that had contacted the city through Neighbors Helping Neighbors. So even we missed one. Unfortunately, we had the address wrong yesterday, and I got back there and fixed that one. So yeah, and Stuart, you have been very instrumental with some of the times where I've questioned my own. You made me question my own judgment in the sense of, your logic being very clear and helping me, reconsider my positions at times. You were instrumental in helping me articulate, or you articulated my points way more than I could have when it came to some of the budget issues. So that was huge and instrumental to me. I will miss that presence and inspiration that you brought to the council for me. And also this evening, there is the Asian Pacific American Institute for Congressional Studies swearing in ceremony for the Congressional Asian Pacific American Caucus. And I'd like to congratulate all the electees for that at that level. And I think I will also send out a special thank you to Arilis Perez for helping organize the efforts with the Neighbors Helping Neighbors and senior snow removal and all that. So I think I'll end it with that. Thank you very much.
I actually invited Ms. Perez to come join us and she will be speaking during the conversation. Thank you. Thank you, Councilman Lam, for yesterday's volunteering. I heard good things about you. Thank you for your hard work. Let's go to District 2, Councilman Dr. Esters.
Certainly, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to add to the Love Fest for both the Department of Public Works and for Neighbors Helping Neighbors. Definitely made lots of things happen for residents within the city. In fact, I saw conversation on Nextdoor from neighbors who live in North Riverdale talking about how wonderful DPW is. I also wanted to acknowledge those residents who took it upon themselves just to help. There are a lot of residents who just on their own came out to help others, and that is always something that is great to see, and glad that we have great residents in the city. As far as Councilmember Adams, I just want to tell you we will miss you. You came out running. And as soon as the gate opened and you got on council, you were working hard and diligently on a variety of topics, and you often kept us on our toes. I'm certain you will continue to do that moving forward. We will miss you. Thank you.
Very well played. Councilmember Whitney.
Thank you. I too want to thank the Department of Public Works and Neighbors Helping Neighbors for all their work during this storm. I think they weren't out of practice. I was with the shoveling, but I definitely got a little bit of practice in. I want to thank residents who, I had one Neighbors Helping Neighbors house where someone volunteered to do it, but then ended up it wasn't needed, but I appreciated that they were willing to step in at a moment's notice. So again, just a lot of great residents in our city willing to help out. For Stu, I'm sorry, Councilmember Adams, we began this journey on council together. We were sworn in at the same time, and we have been learning and working together as we've gone along. And I just want to thank him for his leadership and his willingness to push policies forward that he believes will benefit city residents. I think his skills have served council and residents very well and will be sorely missed. Public service is both an honor and a stressor, and I completely understand that family comes first. And Councilmember Adams, I hope this is not the last that we see of you in public service, and I certainly don't think it will be. Thank you.
Let's go to Mayor Pro Tem Mitchell.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. First, as echoed so eloquently by everyone else about the Department of Public Works, thank you again for their service. I saw them last night around 8:30 coming down Marble Way, helping out and making sure streets were cleaned. I also want to take this moment to acknowledge the contract police. The same night that District 1 held their forum, prior to that, we had a very severe emergency right on Marble Way, and they responded accordingly with the Bridgeville Fire Department. So I want to say thank you very much. We saved a life, and truly the family is very grateful. To my colleague, Councilmember Adams, thank you so much for your service and leadership on this council, we have agreed to disagree, but that's okay. That's what it's all about. You have put policies forward that have been thought-provoking, but always in the best interest of the residents of College Park, and most importantly for your District 3 community. I know, like everyone else said, this won't be the last that we'll see you, but I do wish you the best, and you take care.
Let's go to District 4, Councilmember Ms. Mackey.
Yes, first I want to apologize to my colleagues and to residents for not being on camera. I got a new city computer and this is my first Zoom meeting with it, and the camera's not working, but I know that when I go in, the staff will help me and we'll get that for the next meeting. But I am here, and I just have of course I echo the great work of everybody pulling together during this snow emergency. And I thank everyone who, our staff and our neighbors and just everyone, Neighbors Helping Neighbors, for really pulling together and just showing what a wonderful community we have in College Park. I wanted to remind people that January is National Blood Donors Month. So if you feel so inclined that there is the need, also don't forget that everybody's trash is pushed back a day. So, and compost crew is coming tomorrow, and I guess I echo everyone's comments on the service of Councilmember Adams. I thank him for bringing his expertise and energy to the council and working for the best quality of life for all College Park residents. I've learned a lot from him, and he has served the people of College Park well for the last 3 years as a council member, and before that in many other roles. And I just want to say that I consider you a good friend, and I just am praying that God would bless you and your family in this time of taking a break from being on council. So my best and warmest wishes to you. Thank you.
Thank you. So before we give the opportunity to Mr. Adams, Councilmember Adams, to speak, I'm sure he has lots to say because there's a last comment officially he'll be making. I have this to say to him. So I thank you, Mr. Adams, for everything you have done for College Park and its residents over the past 3 years. It is clear how much heart and dedication you have put into representing District 3. Your work on the pedestrian bike safety and community events and affordable housing has made such a big impact. I remember when we started the bike and pedestrian safety committee, you were the one who was the most strong advocate for that. So thank you for everything you have been doing over the years. I know why you're leaving, because balancing the public service with family life is not a small feat. And your decision to step back and focus on your family is so admirable. Your love for your family, wife and kids really comes through. And we are all wishing you all the best as you start the next chapter. You have been an amazing part of the council, and while we'll miss working with you, it is great to know that you will still be part of College Park community. And thank you again for all the hard work and commitment. You have left a very lasting mark to College Park's community. Thank you so much for your service again. So with that, let's give it to Mr. Adams, please. Go ahead. I'm sure you have many good things to say.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to go too lengthy here, but I do appreciate all the kind words. And first of all, I definitely do want to thank DPW and neighbors and residents who have helped us get through this snowstorm. And, you know, it might snow again this upcoming weekend, so let's be ready for that as well. You know, just to share a little bit about my decision to resign. So in March of last year, my family had some difficulties with a pregnancy, and it lasted for a long time and led to, a very difficult year. Sorry. And just with my full-time day job and council, it's a lot of work. And so in March of 2024, I actually reached out to a handful of residents and let them know that I was unsure if I was going to finish my term, and that they should watch the budget session and watch council intently, as they might have a chance through a special election to be a District 3 council member. And I'm proud to say that I know of at least 2 candidates that are already intending to go forward, that are going to do an excellent job if either of them are elected, and encourage other people to really strongly consider running as well. It's a privilege to be on council. This council does an amazing job. The city staff is first class. The mayor, the council members. I know some folks have mentioned I push a little bit to do excellence, but that's because I know we're capable. Councilmember Hernandez, I just want to say in particular, you're an incredibly capable individual, and we've had some just late night conversations about how much we care about the residents, and I absolutely love those conversations with you. And but in March, and as my daughter was born in June, and her time at the NICU, it just became a traumatic experience to go through. And in November, I told a few of you on this call, colleagues, that I was going to resign because I just knew the level of stress and the commitments I have with my family. My day job became a little bit too much to continue with the responsibilities of council, which are tremendous and important. And then I wrote the resignation letter in December, and January 8th was chosen intentionally because that gives enough time for us to hold a special election and have a new D3 council member ready to go for the budget session and the budget work session April 4th. So it's a specific timeline that's been coordinated over many months to make sure that District 3 has the proper representation. But it's been an honor. I will still be around. I'm sure you'll continue to get emails from me as a resident. And also, if you recall, in my resignation letter, there's a PS with a bunch of different projects on that and initiatives that, feel free to make sure those are continued on and those are pushed forward with success. But I just want to say, just incredibly grateful for the opportunity. It's a balance with family, day job, council, all the things that we do. And I know I live that now with my colleagues on this call. And whoever will be the new council member will also need to juggle those responsibilities. And I'm ready to patch the torch to the next person, because we have a lot of great residents, and we already have a great mayor and council and city staff that's going to continue in excellence. So thank you so much.
Thank you. So moving. It's kind of shame that we are meeting tonight virtually. I wish it could be in person and I could be next to you and give a big hug. Sorry, we missed that, but I'm sure I'll be doing it in another time. Thank you so much. Let's go to the next our student liaison. She is probably traveling. Do you have Miss McDonald's joining us?
Hi, Mayor. Erica's not here. However, I tried to promote Anna, and she's not promoting. She's not promoting. So I don't know if she wants to speak or not.
Yeah, I'm sure we can hear from her later on. Let's do the city manager's report, Mr. Young.
Good evening. Good evening, Mayor and City Council. Just want to thank all of you for your support for our public works employees, and as well as getting the message out to our residents, particularly with the snowstorm that we had. I would remind residents that we are looking at some freezing temperatures tonight. So please be careful with that black ice that is out there. We'll do our best to make sure we get these hills and streets salted and keep that ice from forming, but be very careful as you're going out and give yourself enough time as you move through the city. Also, those residents that live on cul-de-sacs, we really need to ask for your assistance here and get a better job of parking less cars in that cul-de-sac. We could very easily have towed a number of vehicles yesterday. We restrained from doing that, but moving forward, that is something that we need to work on, particularly in the North College Park area. Is where we're running into some issues there. as well as residents parking in front of fire hydrants. We need to make sure we don't block access to fire hydrants whenever they are present. Lastly, Councilmember Adams, I just wanted to say thank you for your service and your consultancy at times. And I just wish the best for you and your family. And I know this is not the last that we'll see of you and your family. So good luck to you all.
Thank you. All right. Any question for Mr. Young? Right. Seeing none, this is time to do
I do have a question for the city manager.
Please go ahead.
Thank you. Yeah. So elections are on my mind tonight, and I would note that we have a special election coming up for our county council or our county executive, and was wondering whether there were any sort of preliminary plans or thoughts about once again using for the precinct that covers South College Park, using College Park City Hall. I think that was very successful, and I think that Ritchie Arena is in no better shape, or will it be in any better shape in March than it was, when we had our last general election in November. So I want to throw that out there for consideration. I do hope that we continue to encourage people to vote there. I think our city hall is a beautiful facility, and I think it's a perfect place to vote just generally. So I would love for us to continue to use it.
I believe we have worked that out with the elections, but I have to just verify with Ms. Allen. I believe they've clarified a date and we'll be utilizing the community room, I believe.
Thank you.
That is correct.
Okay. Thank you. That would be wonderful. All right. Anyone else? Any question for Mr. Young? All right. Seeing none, let's do the acknowledgement. I can see our former District 2 City Council member Marnor Dennis has joined online. Thank you, Mr. Dennis. Always nice to see you. I hope I am not missing anyone. I am not. All right. So now there are two proclamations I need to make. The first one is about Martin Luther King Jr. tributes. Let me bring it up here. Virtual experience a little different. It's still coming up. Okay. So City of College Park proclamation in honor of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., whereas Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. supported nonviolent action to promote equal rights and economic justice worldwide, and whereas Dr. King's many notable speeches, sermons, and writings are among the most revered orations and writings in recent American history. And whereas Dr. King and many other civil rights leaders chose to organize their arguments around the contrasting ideas that the United States was a leader in promoting democracy and rights, while denying those rights to many living in America. And whereas during the St. Louis Freedom Rally on March 22nd, 1964, Dr. King called for people to be less concerned with economic, political, and social positions and transform into a beautiful symphony of brotherhood to end racism in this country. And whereas members of the College Park community strive to achieve the vision of Dr. King, who said that we must learn to live together as brothers, and we will all perish together as fools. And whereas this month, the city will honor and commemorate Dr. King's legacy and his fight for social justice in many ways, including providing Paint Branch Elementary School, Hollywood Elementary School, and City Hall with 8 in-person assemblies presenting the life of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., and a program on the history of African American women in the U.S. hosting a food drive to benefit those in need in College Park, and giving books that celebrate Dr. King's work to College Park children. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that on Monday, January 15, 2024, the Mayor and Council of the City of College Park join in recognizing the social and spiritual accomplishments of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. in the 31st Annual College Park Tribute that will carry forward his spirit and optimism and strengthen our commitment to justice. So proclaimed the 7th day of January 2025, Fazil Kabir, Mayor, City of College Park. The second and last proclamation I have is the National Human Trafficking Prevention Awareness Month. And this is the proclamation we are making for the first time on the City Council, and hopefully this will be the tradition every year. City of College Park Human Trafficking Awareness Month proclamation, whereas human trafficking defined as the use of force, fraud, or coercion for the purpose of labor or commercial sexual exploitation now ranks as the world's second largest and rapidly growing underground economy. And whereas trafficking presents a pervasive threat and public health risk to individuals of all backgrounds, occurring in plain sight in sectors such as hospitality, agriculture, and domestic work, with traffickers ranging from strangers to acquaintances, and whereas the devastating impact of human trafficking, profound physical, sexual, and psychological harm to victims necessitate vigilant and comprehensive strategies for combat and support, and requires concerted efforts across all sectors of society. Human trafficking, whether it involves forced labor or sex trafficking, is unacceptable everywhere. And whereas the city recognizes the importance of community engagement, education, and the participation of every citizen in eradicating beliefs and practices that foster exploitation, and whereas a successful response to human trafficking demands a coordinated community-wide effort, valuing the perspectives and expertise of survivors and fostering public-private partnership for a comprehensive approach. And whereas in our pursuit to eradicate human trafficking, the City of College Park aspires to be a place of opportunity, equity, and justice, where all individuals are treated with dignity, receive fair compensation, and are free from exploitation and human rights abuses. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that this Mayor and City Council of the City of College Park hereby proclaims January 2025 as National Human Trafficking Prevention Month, and urge College Park residents, community organizations, businesses, and government agencies to increase their participation and support in our collective efforts to eradicate human trafficking, making the City of College Park a safe and just community for all, proclaimed 7th day of January 2025. Fazil Kabir, Mayor, City of College Park. So this is the time to amend and approve the agenda. Is there an amendment?
Excuse me, point of order, Mr. Mayor. You wanted to recognize Ms. Perez from Neighbors Helping Neighbors to speak?
Yeah, I'll certainly do. That will be during the comment section when everyone can speak. I'll invite her. Thank you.
With that being said, I move to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
The agenda, not the consent, the agenda.
Yeah, agenda, right.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Any abstention? The consent agenda has been approved. I'm having trouble with my council package.
The agenda has been approved, yes?
The agenda has been approved, yes. At this time, I would like to request anyone who wants to speak on any items which are not on the consent agenda. I see Ms. Perez. Let me. Are you in? Yeah, let me allow you. Can staff allow Ms. Perez to come in, join and speak?
I'm promoting her now.
Oh, is she? She isn't. Okay. Ms. Perez, please go ahead. Please unmute yourself.
I did. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you now. Thank you.
Okay. Well, good evening, everyone. This is Aurelis Perez with Neighbors Helping Neighbors. I wrote an email, which I think is very appropriate for tonight, and it goes like this. On behalf of the seniors and disabled residents of College Park, MD, and Neighbors Helping Neighbors College Park, I would like to extend our deepest gratitude to each of you who selflessly offer your time, energy, and support during this recent snowstorm. The winter weather brought significant challenges to our community, but thanks to your kindness and dedication, many of our most vulnerable neighbors were able to stay safe and comfortable. Your efforts in shoveling snow, salting driveways, and cleaning off cars made a world of difference, ensuring that our seniors and disabled residents could move about more easily and without the added stress of harsh winter conditions. It is in times like these that the strength of our community shines brightly. Your actions reflect not only the generosity of spirit, but also a profound sense of compassion for others. It's clear that College Park is a place where neighbors take care of neighbors, and we are truly fortunate to have people like you who stepped up in times of need. Once again, thank you for your extraordinary efforts. Your kindness did not go unnoticed, and you have made a lasting impact on the lives of those you help. We are so grateful for your support and hope that that you know how much your actions have meant to so many. Chris Gordon, Scoutmaster, and Lauren Lavoie, and the 8 Boy Scouts, Anthony, Cass, Everett, Hadrian, Horatio, Kwame, Logan, and Nathaniel, were simply amazing throughout the city of College Park. I truly hope that as the winter season has begun, the Neighbors Helping Neighbors College Park can count on your services again, provided that Prince George's Public Schools are closed. With that, I also want to let you know that I'm just in awe of all my council members, because besides being on the board of Neighbors Helping Neighbors and being a volunteer myself, I'm the one that handles and manages and coordinates the special projects for Neighbors Helping Neighbors. So I reached out to the council members. Alan Hugh recruited Chris and the Boy Scouts. Dr. Esters and her husband shoveled snow. Susan Whitney did the same. John Rigg and Benjamin and Matthew and Lucas. Power to you with the young leadership and civic duty. Maria Mackey with her son Nicholas took care of our senior residents. So from Neighbors Helping Neighbors, if you're not aware, we service 55 plus in age, in seniors that are 55 plus that are either seniors or disabled. And we currently have 60 members. And of those 60 members, 25 residents were serviced yesterday, and we already have it lined up for Saturday. So I'm asking you all to get ready. They're very grateful for your leadership and for stepping up. And I'm just very grateful for your assistance. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, and thank you for your leadership. And you did a fantastic job, and we look forward to working closely with you. And please let us know any help you need from us. I'd like to be on your side. Thank you. Keep up the good work.
Thank you.
Yes, let's do a big round of applause if you can. Thank you. We also have someone with the name Hussein. He raised his hand. Is it possible to bring him in? For some reason, I don't have that capability. Yeah, Mr. Hussein, please. Thank you for joining. Please unmute yourself and proceed with your testimony. You have 3 minutes. Mr. Hussain? Is a yeah, please unmute yourself. I see you are muted.
Thanks a lot for allowing me a few minutes. I had emailed the bill proposals to set interactive implementation specifications and standards for dynamical systems. These are systems that change over time, and they can be applied for many different processes that take place throughout the state of Maryland. Any agency, any activity, research, development requires integration of science and technology and economics information. So we have utilized a system that has worked very well over several decades, produced some of the best standards for the state of Maryland and also for the region and national standards. And we are hopeful that, we can enhance significantly economic efficiency through those standards. And your understanding, the council members, would be of great help because, as you know, when we reach out to people and their reactions based on the judgment they provide, it enhances, accelerates the advanced technology applications. And there is another initiative, and that is related to carbon negative biofuels research conducted at College Park by distinguished professors. And it has to be included as innovative technology, just a minor change so that this research work can continue and the large-scale economic efficiency can be delivered in Maryland. And also, there is a proposal that we have put together. It is for continuous learning that does not require any funding. None of these proposals require any additional funding, but the transformative economic efficiency is large scale. And we have proven that in the last several years that, this interactive research work, open collaboration provides transformative economic efficiency. And we are looking forward to just the support of the council so that we can enhance the collaboration of University of Maryland College Park research centers that are already some of the best in the country to bring about improvements in local operations. And City of College Park comes first, so we would like to enhance it in College Park and then expand the outreach to other cities of Maryland and beyond, because this approach has also produced results in other parts of the world. I have a background in doing similar specifications and standards development for UNESCO, and I've seen how advanced technologies can be taken across continents based on initial collaborative efforts that are local. So we want to prove it on a local level first as a priority. Thank you for your attention. And Dr. Kabir has been very helpful in listening to me, and also the chair of the Health and Government Operations Committee in the General Assembly. So we have a very good chance of making some progress. And we passed a bill last year. You can look it up. It's HB 999. It's about innovation and technology open collaboration. A report was supposed to be prepared by the Governor's Commission, but it did not fulfill the report, finish the report by the deadline. So
Mr. Hussain, your time is up.
Yes. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Yeah, please send the bill when it's ready to the City Council. I will forward that to you.
Yes, I'll follow up. I'll send the email with those drafts.
Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot.
Just for the purpose of record keeping, are you a citizen of College Park, resident of College Park?
No, I'm not. But the centers for advanced technologies are located in College Park, and the professor who is developing the advanced technology for carbon negative biofuels is in College Park.
Okay, thank you. Good to know. Thank you so much. Is there anyone else who wants to speak from the audience? I do not see any virtual hands. With that, let's go to the next agenda item, which is approval of the consent agenda. There are 4 of them, and the first one is, let me read them out and then I'll entertain a motion. The first one is the 24G01, which is the approval of the consulting agreement with L.A. Perez Consulting, LLC, to provide strategic consulting and government and community relations services in Prince George's County and the state of Maryland governments and agencies on behalf of the city for the period of January 1, 2025 through December 30, 2025. Second one is 25R01, which is the adoption of Resolution 25R01, designating a resident agent for the city. And third one is 25G02, which is the approval of staff's recommendation to install a stop sign on Erie Street at Rhode Island Avenue East Service Road. And finally, the fourth and the last one is 25G03, which is the approval of the September 17, 2024 minutes. Is there any?
I move to adopt the consent agenda.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Dr. Estes and seconded by, yeah, I heard two. Councilman Hernandez. Okay, that is okay with everyone. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstention? The consent agenda has been approved. We do not have any presentation and public hearing or and the possible actions, so we'll go straight to action items, and we have a couple of them actually. The first one is 25CR01, which is introduction of Charter Resolution 25CR01, a special election, and this will be taken by our city attorney, Stephanie Anderson, and our city clerk, Yvette Allen, who is going to take it. Ms. Anderson? Ms. Allen?
Okay, I'll take it.
Please go ahead.
Mayor. Okay, good evening, Mayor and Council. And I just wanted to offer my thanks to Councilmember Adams. It's been a pleasure working with you this past year, and I wish you much success in the next chapter. And again, I always look forward to learning with the individuals that I work with, and it's again been my pleasure to work with you. So thank you for that opportunity. So I will give you background on this proposed charter resolution, starting, I guess, with special elections that were held in 2020 and 2023. The city spent approximately $13,600 on each election. Currently, our city charter requires a special election to be held within 65 days if the end of the term for the mayor or council member is greater than 180 days from the next election. Council could consider amending the time period if the vacancy occurs more than 365 or 366 days, counting for that leap year, before the next general election. The vacancy could be filled by special election, and if the vacancy occurs less than a year, or 365, 366 days prior to the next general election, the vacancy could be filled by the appointment of the mayor and council by a majority vote within 30 days after the vacancy occurred. If the appointment is not made within those time periods, the position would be vacant until the next election. And you also have before you the timeline for if this proposed amendment were to move forward. We would introduce the charter resolution this evening, hold a public hearing, and adopt the charter resolution on February 4th of 2025. After adoption, a fair summary would be published in a newspaper of general circulation of not less than 4 times weekly within a period of at least 40 days. And then the charter resolution would become effective on March 21st of 2025 unless it was petitioned to referendum in accordance with Section 4-304 of the Local Government Article Annotated Code of Maryland by March 16th, 2025. And the fiscal impact would be that amendments would cost about $3,500, which includes the required publishing, changing the charter to allow for appointing a person to fill the vacant term would save the city a considerable amount of money. And I'm here to answer any questions that you may have.
Certainly. Does council have any questions? I know we discussed a little bit before. See, I see a couple of hands, starting with Mayor Pro Tem Mitchell, then Mr. Wig, and then Dr. Esters and Ms. Whitney.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and thank you, Ms. Anderson, for that explanation as you went through what the proposal you are presenting to us tonight. Under the charter amendment requirement timeline, the last point of reference, when you talk about it would become effective on March 21st, 2025, unless it's petitioned to referendum, could you please explain a little bit more of that, especially for the residents who are listening tonight, so they'll have a better understanding of what that means and the implications?
So I think that under state law and maybe under the charter, and I would have to look it up to be exactly sure, but it allows, there's a proceeding that allows laws to be petitioned to referendum if you meet the requirements under the charter or the annotated code of Maryland. And so it would have to be, I guess, passed by the voters through the referendum process.
Thank you. So next we have Mr. Wig.
Thank you. Yeah, and this is just a very narrow question, and it's really probably more for the city manager, the city clerk, I think. The $13,000 per special election, I think, are those only direct costs? Do those include salary costs or other costs related to the election? Because it seems low, given the amount of labor I know that our city staff have to do to be able to do an election. And I don't know, also, I think we provide a small stipend to the Board of Election Supervisors as well. So it probably does include that, but, and does it include presumption of mailing, of it being a mail-in election? I know that mail-in elections have proven to be, and I think worthwhile, the investment, but more costly than sort of ballot-based elections. So I was just wondering if you could tell us a little bit more about what is and what isn't in that $13,000 cost estimate.
Mayor, I'll start off, but I'll ask Ms. Allen to jump in and fill in the blanks there. The costs that you're looking at there are just a direct cost. They do not include our already sunk costs and staff. Those are not included in those hours. Ms. Allen can probably fill you in on the whether or not those salaries were included in that number, the stipend that we give the.
Thank you. It'd be good to know kind of, a rough estimate of the number of labor hours, just like big, little, something in between 40, 60, a million, or 8. Because I think 13,000 tells, paints a story that it's really a de minimis cost, and I think in fact it's a fairly substantial cost.
Thank you. Ms. Allen, do you want to add anything?
Yes. This does not include staff time, staff salary. It does not include what we pay the Board of Election supervisors. That's already placed in our budget yearly. It basically includes these special elections are usually by paper ballots, and it's usually the material that we use during election day.
Thank you. All right. Next, thank you, Ms. Allen. I think next we go to Ms. Whitney, then Ms. Mackey. Ms. Whitney, please unmute yourself.
Thank you. I'm trying. So yes, and pardon me if I missed this, but I don't think the explanation that Ms. Anderson just provided included the option for council to decide if we were to go forward with this charter amendment. I'm not in favor of how it has been written and how it was presented in the packet, because I believe council understood that our option would be if someone resigned within 365 or 366 days of the next election, that council could decide whether to hold a special election or to appoint. And the reason why council voted to go that way, I believe, in the last meeting was because the past 3 years have seen a lot of special elections, and we were made aware that it was not only a cost to the city that was a factor, but it was also a lot of pressure on staff. It took a lot of staff time and on the Board of Election Supervisors. So my feeling is that most likely in normal times, like when there had been like 5 or 6 terms maybe, and we haven't had any special elections, I think the appetite would probably be pretty strong to move forward with a special election in that case. But in instances like now, people might be more inclined to appoint just to take the pressure off of staff and the Board of Election Supervisors. So I believe an alternate amendment was put forward, and I just wondered if that could be discussed. Sorry to be so lengthy.
Thank you. Let's go to Ms. Mackey, Councilwoman Mackey.
Yes, I think that Dr. Esters was before me, but.
I can't see that hand anymore.
Okay, so I'll just be very brief then. I also had the same question that Councilmember Whitney had. As you know, in the work session, I expressed my concern about making it only appointments after the certain time period, changing the time period. So I was wondering why that was changed in the language of our packet and of putting forward. Is there some reason we can't have that flexibility? And so that was my question. If that could be cleared up for me, was it just an oversight, or is there a reason why we can't have the flexibility of having the determination in the with the council? So if someone could answer that, that would be great.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Ms. Anderson or Ms. Allen, any of you?
Yes, I can answer that question. It was probably a misunderstanding of what the council required. There's no legal impediment to having that language change. And we can move forward if someone, prior to introduction, someone would like to make that amendment, that would be certainly acceptable.
Good to know.
Thank you.
Thank you. And finally, we have Mr. Hernandez, and then Ms. Whitney will have a second bite. turn on this?
Yeah,
Councilmember?
what I mean, my major concern was this. I think in the work session discussion was that it would immediately go into should a vacancy occur 365, that we would go straight into an appointment process, and I really didn't. I wasn't in support of that, and I think I had asked for the option, and everyone clarified that there was an option. I went back and checked the tape, and that's so I'm in line with Councilmember Mackey and Councilmember Whitney. I personally won't support it if it doesn't have the option. I'd like to offer, if possible, and I know that we've had kind of a lengthy discussion about this already, an amendment to the proposed 365 days. And I say to 180, given like the large amount of time that it would be to appoint a council member from the dais, right, amongst all of us. I have a hard time. Like, I envision a moment where there's 6 or 7 applicants that express interest in trying to join the council through an appointment or to help fill the seat, and we at council struggle with trying to make a full decision. I did see that in the detailed language there's a process for that to find a majority of the votes, but I think 180 days meets everyone in the middle. I think just 365 days is a long time. I think I also sent a list of my concerns on this particular item to the mayor and council, but one of the points was on the appointment process. I know that Ms. Anderson, you answered the question, or if it was Miss Yvette, regarding the appointment process, but for transparency purposes and for everyone on the call, because I see we have a lot of online attendees, is it possible for you all to cover some of the requirements you would need to be a part or even consider for the appointment process? My concern was that there would be applicants from across the city attempting to, express their interest, while meaningful so, but there not being a clear criteria process. You answered it online, but I just want to make sure if you could just
Ms.
speak.
Anderson? Yeah, if you could summarize it.
I'm going to ask Ms. Allen to go over that process.
Our city charter, subsection C36, vacancies. Item number 3 states that becoming necessary to fill a vacancy of the office of the council member pursuant to B1 above, the city clerk shall give public notice of the vacancy containing the qualifications of the office, the boundaries to be represented, which means it would be your district. It wouldn't be, if it was District 1 or District 3, it wouldn't be someone from District 1 to be able to apply.
Okay.
The procedure to apply for appointment to the vacancy or to be placed on the special election ballot as appropriate, and the deadline for applications. Applications for appointment shall be forwarded to the city clerk, to the mayor and council. Applications to be placed on the special election ballot shall be forwarded to the city clerk of supervisors of election, who shall review the applications for the purpose of determining the qualifications of the candidates, which means that the city clerk can receive the applications. We forward them to the Board of Election supervisors. They would qualify the applicant. The applicant shall include a petition in a form satisfactory to the Board of Election supervisors containing the names, addresses, signatures of not less than 20 registered voters residing in the applicant's district, or in the case of the mayor, not less than 15. Indicating the support for the applicant's candidacy. And to fill by appointment, the mayor and council shall review the applications at the next regular meeting after the deadline or at a meeting specifically called for that purpose. Nominations may also be taken from the floor From any council member, the mayor shall refer all nominations to a committee of the whole council for review and comment for the purpose of reporting on the qualifications of the nominees. Upon the report of the committee of the whole, a vote on the nominee or nominees shall be taken with no further nominations being allowed from the floor. Should no nominees receive a majority of the votes cast, a second vote shall be conducted between the two nominees receiving the highest number of votes. The nominee receiving a majority of the votes shall thereby be appointed to fill the vacancy. That is in our city charter.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you. That's helpful. So I see Ms. Whitney, you're a second batch, so you're coming next to Mr. Adams and Mr.
I will defer to others who have not had a first bite yet.
Yes. Mr. Adams, please go ahead, and then Dr. Esther, it looks like you want to speak now.
Yeah, I think I just want to state that this discussion, I believe, first surfaced after the last election in November. The Board of Election Supervisors were talking about just the amount of effort to hold a special election for the mayor and then a general election kind of back to back. And there's not only fatigue at the Board of Election Supervisors, which are amazing volunteers that do a tremendous job, but there's also voter fatigue for residents. And I think, this came about at that time when I can tell you candidly, I had no considerations for resigning. But I've debated for many months resigning based on the family and day job and other responsibilities I have. And it is something I weighed in terms of, what if it's fair to the residents, it's fair to city staff and others to have to hold a special election and then a general election in 2025. And ultimately I decided, have to allow for the best representation to District 3. And I knew that was for me to resign and somebody else to come in place. But in doing so, there's going to be 60 plus days where we're going to miss a District 3 council member. And I think that is an unfortunate circumstance. And so I believe we have candidates that are highly qualified that are going to come forward and do a robust job of running in a special election. But I believe similar candidates would come forward and put their name in for an appointment. And I think the advantage of an appointment is we could probably put somebody in within 30 days as opposed to waiting 65 plus. And also recognize the fact that this is so many variables that we have to consider. We have to consider the folks that are resigning. Myself and PJ Brennan, as young fathers, we had to prioritize our family. But others, will have decisions that they'll need to make. Say your job takes you out of College Park. We all run for council with the full commitment to be a representative for 2 years plus, but sometimes things change. And so I think as Councilmember Whitney put forward, I would only support this if it's an option. I don't think it should be a mandate to appoint. I think the council should weigh the circumstances and decide whether or not a appointment is appropriate or a special election should be held. And I think right now we're able to do that at 180 days. But moving that to a year, I think gives the flexibility that's needed to reflect the totality of everyone involved, because it's much more than just one resident, one council member, one Board of Election Supervisors individual. It's an entire city decision, and it has a lot of weight to it. And I'll tell you that candidly myself. And so I really strongly encourage us to do that. And also it aligns with some of the other allowances at the county level for their appointments. So it's not without precedent. And so I just really think this is a great tool for us to consider. I put this on a future agenda item back in March of 2024 when Mr. Dortch mentioned specifically about this. And so for me, we heard it at the Board of Election Supervisors in December, late November of 2023. And then Mr. Dortch mentioned it again in March of 2024. That compelled me to put it on the agenda. It will not have any impact on my resignation or the District 3 special election. But we do need to make sure that we're looking at good governance for many years to come. And I think it gives us appropriate flexibility. Thank you.
Thank you. So we have a couple of customers who haven't spoken yet, so I'm going to give them an opportunity first. Dr. Esther and I believe we are Dr. Estes though, and on here. Dr. Estes, please go ahead.
Yes, I just want to agree wholeheartedly with both what Councilmember Whitney and Councilmember Adams have just shared. I think the idea of having the option will allow city representatives to make the decision that they need to make. There are so many circumstances and things that have arisen over the past number of years that have required us to hold at least two special elections, one in which I was elected, and I appreciate that, but I also acknowledge the strain that it can cause, and allowing for the council to make a decision as to what they think is best, I believe would be helpful. And I also think and would hope that members of the community would entrust us in making that decision and trying to determine what is best, especially where it comes to representation and for a district to have the proper representation. So I wanted to say that. I also wanted to thank Ms. Allen for reading from the charter, but want to acknowledge that most residents do not necessarily go to the charter for information. So wanted to ask, based upon decisions that we make, if we are in a situation where an appointment is being made, that we clearly share with members of the community those requirements so that they're clear that it's not just us closing our eyes and making an arbitrary decision, but really understanding that an individual has the qualifications to serve if they are indeed appointed.
Thank you. And Mr. Hugh, please go ahead.
Yes, and I agree again with Dr. Estes, with Councilmember Whitney and Adams, and a lot of what Dr. Estes just said. I'll only add to that is that it is expensive for a candidate to run, and to run for just a few months and have to rerun again. I think that's a real burden that we need to consider. So I'll just leave it at that. There was enough said that reflects my feelings that my previous council members already said.
Thank you. So we have a few want to speak second bites. Please be brief this time. We already spent quite a bit of time on this. Ms. Mackey, Ms. Whitney, and then Mr. Hernandez. Ms. Mackey, please go ahead.
I thought I lowered my hand, but I will just also echo what my colleagues have said about I can support this if we have the flexibility as we stated in the work session, but otherwise I understand the need for consideration to our staff and to the Board of Election Supervisors, but I also know that, and also for the candidates, I also know that with a year left in the term, we only have 2-year terms, so I think that the people of the district should have the opportunity if the council feels that they should. So I'm supportive of the flexibility, but I guess it will need to be amended. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Whitney, please be brief.
Well, I was going to offer an amendment to the proposed charter amendment. So I can either go forward with that, or if maybe I should put that forward, and then if there is any other amendment to that, we could.
Yeah, so there isn't any motion on the table, and this is an introduction, by the way. So there will not be voting on it tonight. And Ms. Anderson, if it is okay, can council member present a motion with a different language, a little bit modified language, with the flexibility clause in it?
Yes, we can have present the amendment to before introduction, so that what is introduced is what will be out there for the public to review.
Thank you. Mr. Hernandez, do you have anything burning?
I have two quick things. I've been trying to figure out how to thread the needle on this. So when I first applied to council, I did it via the appointment process, and I was a relatively new voice, right, in that space, and fully understand, why I wasn't selected at the time. But I think that because I was a new voice, the appointment process didn't necessarily help bring in a voice that wasn't necessarily known. I think it definitely helped introduce an opportunity to run in the future. However, I just feel like the appointment process sometimes lacks that ability for just someone that doesn't have that experience with the council or having worked in a traditional way with the committees or boards to be able to argue their case. Secondly, I get the sense of where council is, but I do want to ask for us to continue to see if we can, and I trust my colleagues on council to be able to make an appointment mindfully. But if at all possible, we can explore opportunities for residents to provide inputs to those appointment processes. I think that could also be helpful. And I've been trying to figure out a way of how to do that, but it seems kind of challenging. But so if everyone can just come together, I'd really appreciate that sort of thoughtfulness in the future.
Mr. Hugh, very briefly, this will be your probably second bite.
Very, very briefly, I'll just add to what Councilmember Hernandez just said, is that there was the appointment process the last time around, which we were both part of applying for. Nine candidates applied for that appointment, and out of that 9, 5 of them decided to run. I think it kind of prompted a healthier campaign cycle that followed soon after. So I don't think that it's at a disadvantage of appointing somebody.
Thank you. We'll have another opportunity to debate on this, the pros and cons, when we'll be voting and take the public testimony. So tonight is not that night. Tonight we're introducing it, which hasn't been done yet. Ms. Whitney, looks like you have volunteered to make a motion with a slightly different language with a flexibility clause in it. Please go ahead.
Yes, let's see. Yes, I'm unmuted. Okay, let me see.
Thank you.
What's up? Trying to hurry. Okay, so I move to introduce Charter Resolution 24CR03, a charter resolution of the Mayor and Council of the City of College Park to amend Chapter C of the City Charter, Article 3, Mayor and Council, Section C3-6, vacancies, to amend the time period to allow an appointment. This is where I need to change it. If a vacancy occurs more than 365 or 366 days before the next general election, the vacancy shall be filled by special election held not later than 65 days after the vacancy exists. The second change is if the vacancy occurs within, rather than 180, 365 or 366 days of, but not later than 60 days before the next general election, the vacancy shall be filled by appointment of the mayor and council by majority vote within 30 days after the vacancy shall have occurred, or the vacancy shall be filled by special election held not later than 65 days after the vacancy occurs. The decision on how to fill a vacancy under this subsection B shall be by majority vote of the mayor and council. If the vacancy is not filled as stated in this subsection B, the position shall remain vacant until the next election. That covers all the changes.
Thank you. Was the one who seconded it? I didn't catch it. Mr. Rick, thank you. So tonight we are not. Sorry?
It was Dr. Esters.
Oh, Dr. Esters, okay. I see one raised hand from the audience at DH. We're not taking the votes on tonight, so we're not taking any public comments. But you'll have an opportunity to speak when the public hearing will take place. Staff, can you please remind us one more time when the public hearing will be on this?
The public hearing will be held on February 4th.
February 4th, okay. So that time residents will get an opportunity to speak. So at this point, so we have a motion and which has been seconded. Let me call for action. Do you need a vote on this, Ms.?
You need to vote on the amendment because it's changed from what we've introduced. What was put in the packet. So you need to vote on what Councilmember Whitney just proposed.
Thank you. So,
I'm sorry?
Then we need to introduce it as amended.
Yes, correct.
As amended, right. So all in favor, say aye on the modified amended motion.
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstention? So the motion has been, the resolution, charter resolution has been introduced. Do you need a final vote on it, Ms. Anderson?
Well, yes, what we have is, correct me, Yvette, we had approval of the amendment, and now we're going to move to introduce.
Introduce it.
Right.
And that is a full council vote?
We don't need a vote, we just need a second for introduction.
Mr. Mayor, point of order, question. If we vote, we don't allow public comment?
No, this is the introduction. Ms. Anderson, please correct me.
This is just for the introduction of the charter resolution. There'll be time for public comment as we move through the process.
Okay.
Thank you. So at this time, so there is a motion on the table. So do you need a motion maker and also second?
Correct, for introduction.
Introduction. Okay. So Ms. Whitney, can you move the motion?
I would like to move the motion.
As amended?
As amended.
Second.
Seconded by Mayor Pro Tem Mitchell. So we do not need a full vote, full council vote. So motion has been, charter resolution has been introduced. Thank you all, thank you staff for your work. All right, so one is done. The second one is 25G04, which is the proposal for the special election regarding District 3 council vacancy. Who's going to take this? I see Board of Supervisor Chief Susan Amoret.
Hi, Mayor. Yes, myself and the Board of Elections Supervisor, Susan Hemrick, will be taking this. Susan, you would unmute yourself?
Thank you.
There we go. Thank you. Hello. As you are well aware, we unfortunately have a vacancy in District 3 for the council member's position, and so we need to have a special election by city charter within 65 days. Because of this very short time period, we would like to propose some changes to our usual process. The first thing we would like to do is to send a postcard with information to every household in District 3, advising them of the vacancy, the qualifications for candidacy, as well as the timeline for the election process, since this is a 65-day process. We would then like to send to each registered voter a ballot, which would be handled in the standard fashion for mail-in ballots. There will be no application process. Each voter would be mailed a ballot. Okay, the ballots could be returned to the city by post office or by a drop box located at City Hall. We would also like to suggest that we have one live voting day, which would be on the, I believe it's correct, 61st day of the cycle, and that would be Tuesday, March the 11th, the hours being 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Again, each person who had received a ballot could bring that ballot and simply turn it in on that day. If they've lost their ballot or spoiled their ballot, we could offer them a replacement. Okay. We could conduct the canvass on March 12, 13, and 14, which would be a Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. And we would attempt to get the results to the mayor and council by I can't remember my handwriting, by Friday afternoon. And at that point, we could do a formal report to the mayor and council on March 18th. And then we could have the swearing in on March 25th. This would satisfy the 65-day cycle. Are there any questions?
Yeah, thank you. Ms. Allen, do you want to add anything before?
No, I'm good. I'm here to answer questions.
I'm sure there could be some. Council members, do you have any questions? Please raise your hands. I see a couple of them, starting with Mr. Rigg, District 3, right? Mr. Rigg, is it?
Years out.
We can't hear you. Mr. Rigg, let's go to Mr. Adams, then go back to Mr. Rigg. Mr. Adams?
Yeah, thank you for the work of the board election supervisors, and I think the timeline makes sense. Part of the reason why I put effective date of January 8th as my resignation is to allow us to get back from the holidays, get ready for this, and then also install a new council member before the budget work session on April 4th, which the timeline you entail allows that to happen. So thank you so much for looking into that and making that happen. I do have a question about voter registration. So what is the timeline in the process for voter registration? Is there a time that will close? Can you speak to that, please?
Yes, sir. To allow the county to get us a full complement of voter authorization cards and a voter registry, we would like to cut off the voter registration on February 20th.
Okay, so the voter registration would close on February 20th. And I don't recall if I saw it in the packet. I know you spoke to it, but when would the signatures would be required back for the candidates? Is that in the packet? I might have missed it.
February 5th.
February 5th. Okay, great. All right, thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Sure thing.
Mr. Rigg, are you okay?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Yes.
Yeah, my headphones on this computer pop off from time to time. I apologize. My question was, how is the Board of Election Supervisors proposing to determine which households to send a postcard to? Is that every registered?
In District 3.
Sorry, say that again?
All households in District 3.
So does that mean every address within District 3? Does that include all the apartments?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay, thank you. And then the other question I had was, is there any consideration, or was the Board of Election Supervisors have you given any consideration to the pros and cons of aligning the special election for District 3 with the special election for the county executive, which is also occurring in March?
No, those are independent actions.
Okay, so, I know that they're independent actions, but from a resident's perspective, it might make more sense and certainly be more convenient if there were a single sort of day of voting and a single deadline to keep in mind. So is that something that you all had thought about? Is that something that's even feasible?
The city is obliged to follow the 65-day cycle, and with that in mind, we really don't have a lot of flexibility.
No, I can appreciate that. I think, though, isn't the special election for the county executive like the first week of March? It's actually before the proposed late date of March 14th for the special election for District 3.
We are attempting to allow the candidates as much time to do their what's it called?
Campaigning?
Campaigning, thank you. Yes, as much time as possible. And also to separate those two functions would be very important to do, just because the county's process is slightly different than the city's process, and so we wouldn't want to confuse the two. We could have two different rooms, but I think that would be confusing.
Okay, all right. And then I suppose my last question is, I've always been a little nervous when we talk about sending, especially with voter, well, two other questions. One question is, in District 3, we have a lot of transient residents who come, register to vote, and then move away from the district or move away from the city. And so we always wind up, and I know because I look at the voter roll every other year, with a lot of residents who no longer live, who are registered to vote in the city of College Park, but who no longer live in the city of College Park, mostly because there were student residents who registered at one address when they were students and have since moved away from the city. Are there any concerns with sort of just sending out ballots without an application? I think the philosophy of sending out an application first was that would determine, without having a ballot floating around in the U.S. Postal Service, much more definitively whether somebody was or was not a current resident of the city of College Park.
A person's voter registration is incumbent upon the voter to maintain their current address with the county. If they move, they move. We can't do a lot about that. I realize that there is expense involved in that, but I don't have a good answer for you, I think.
Okay.
Councilmember Ray, I am suggesting that the city sends a ballot to every active voter, not the inactive ones. I did speak to the county today. They were off today, but I told her I needed to speak to her before tonight's meeting. And she said that there's a process that they follow to remove the inactive, but they're still waiting for the state to hit that button. And I'm going to try to, when the offices of the county open back up, I am going to speak to the director to ask her if she can contact the state to find out when that should be done, or when are they going to do that.
Okay, I guess I wanted to just express my concern, just because, if you were to look at a high rise, you could pick a high rise in the city of College Park, you would find it filled with people who no longer live there who are registered to vote in the city of College Park, just hundreds of them. And it's not about the expense so much as it is, I can't think that it's a good electoral practice to have a bunch of mail-in ballots being mailed to people who don't live at who we already know don't live at a residence. I realize that incidence of election fraud is passably small, but that seems to be asking for trouble. So I guess I just wanted to mention that as a point of some concern for me.
Thank you. But the postcards, the initial postcards will be sent to every household still, right? It's not only the ballots. Am I correct?
Correct.
Right. Yeah. And then the ballots would be sent to active voters, but I don't remember what the determination for figuring out what an active voter is. I seem to recall that it used to lag by quite a bit, but I'm not quite sure what the current status is. And the last thing I was going to mention was a lot of residents of District 3, especially in the College Park Estates and Yarrow neighborhoods of East College Park, tend to, when given a choice, prefer to vote at Davis Hall in North College Park rather than come downtown to vote at City Hall. And so I realize that only one precinct is desirable, and I agree that City Hall is likely the best place, is certainly the best place for that. But I'm wondering if there is any, is it feasible at all to have a second ballot drop-off location at Davis Hall, or is that just, given all the other pressures, just unworkable?
It does add a burden to the staff who would be collecting the ballots. And if we have the one ballot drop box at City Hall, that greatly reduces the burden. Doesn't mean it's impossible.
Okay. All right. Well, those are my questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Great questions. Councilmember Mackey?
Yes, thank you. I too agree with Mr. Rigg about mailing the ballots to registered voters, especially in District 3, as we know the turnaround. I am not in favor of doing that. One reason is our voter registration is not up to date in PG County, and it's not PG County's fault. It's well, there's an issue with the state, and there's a lot of different things that have to happen, and PG County is having to have a special election, and I'm just a little concerned about, how much attention they will give us for our election. So I would humbly make a suggestion that when you mail the postcard to every resident in
every household.
Every household in District 3, that you would put on there that they can apply for an absentee or a mail-in ballot, rather than just blanketly sending out mail-in ballots. I understand, we've had this debate before, and I just think that for this special election, we don't have enough time to make sure the voter rolls are as up to date as possible. I could be totally wrong, and I'm willing to give into that. This is just a question and a suggestion that we do not mail-in ballots to every active voter, that we ask them to request them. And I also too agree with Mr. Rigg that we should have 2 drop-off places in the city for convenience for those who live in the Yarrow and College Park Estates area. I don't know what's the most convenient place, whether it's Davis Hall or the community center. I don't know, but anyway, those are my they're just suggestions, and I hope that they will be considered. I know you guys have done. The committee has done tremendous work in getting this put together. I would just consider what I just said. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So I have a new hands, Ms. Whitney, and then Dr. Esters. Ms. Whitney, please go ahead.
Oh, sorry, I thought my hand was last. I just put my hand up, so I can wait.
Dr. Esters, because I'm looking at the list from the top to bottom. Dr. Esters, please go ahead.
Yes, Ms. Hemorrhage, I wonder, based upon what Ms. Mackey has just suggested in sending information, letting people know that they can apply for a ballot, is there a concern with timing, or if folks are offered the opportunity to apply, and reduced number of voters if they don't receive a ballot in hand versus the information about applying to obtain a ballot?
Would you like to speak to that, Yvette?
There's no time crunch on sending a ballot versus an application.
Okay.
There's no time crunch.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Ms. Whitney?
Thank you. I just wanted to weigh in. I tend to support Councilmember Mackey's point of view and Councilmember Rigg's concerns on that. Based on the answer to Councilmember Esther's question, to allow people to apply for a ballot, I think might be helpful. And also, I suppose if you want to look at another benefit, it might save us a little bit of money. Probably not a lot, but that's all.
Thank you. Any comment from my staff? Or
Stuart has his hand up. Do you want to talk to Stuart?
Mr. Adams, second right.
Yeah, I just want to echo Councilmember Whitney, Mackey, Rigg, and in this, I share that same approach as being the best approach. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Looks like there is no other questions or comments. There is a suggested action item as a motion in our motion sheet. So I'd entertain, if someone can take the motion.
Can I make a quick comment, Councilmember Rigg, before you do it? can we ask the city staff to do as much as they possibly can to advertise via the diverse communication tools that we have, Facebook, Instagram, so we can get a diverse set of candidates like to be aware of the special election that they can apply?
Yes, we have an awesome communications team. We will start, once we get council's approval, we will start advertising tomorrow. We want to get the word out tomorrow. We're hoping to have the packet out no later than Friday, so candidates can pull their packets. They can start working on their candidacy by Friday. And we will start advertising from day one. Something will go out in the weekly bulletin this week. We also, if I get an approval of something for tonight, we will also make the Here and Now newspaper, so advertisement will be in that as well.
Awesome, thank you.
We're going to hit the ball rolling. We're going to get the info out there.
Thank you so much. Mr. Rigg, are you going to make the motion?
Yeah, I think I'll make the right motion, and that is, I hope to imitate Ms. Whitney. She made an excellent motion earlier, but I hope to approve. I move to approve the Board of Election Supervisors' recommendations with modifications of mailing each District 3 resident registered voter an application for a ballot, and as requested, a ballot, and hold the special elections on March 11th, 2025, in the community room of City Hall, from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. for any registered voter to vote in person.
Any second?
I'll second. Second.
Thank you. Further comment, Mr. Rigg?
No, I just, there are some unique elements of District 3, and I think our expansive voter roll that is perhaps one thing we need to be particularly concerned about. So I appreciate my colleagues' input and support in getting this right.
Thank you. Before I take the vote, let's go to the audience. If anyone in the audience wants to speak on this item, please raise your virtual hand and allow you to speak. Give you a couple of seconds. You'll have 3 minutes to speak on this item. All right. Seeing none, let's come back to the council. Anyone wants to speak on the motion before we take the vote?
I believe Ms. Allen wishes to speak.
Comment. Please go ahead.
I just want to confirm, while I have Susan here online with me, we are going to mail each active voter or every voter in District 3 an application. They can apply for an application for an absentee ballot. If they apply for one, we can mail that out to them. They can come by the office, pick one up as well with the application. Election is March 11th in the council chambers, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. and 2 ballot boxes.
It's not specified in the motion. I think we would leave that to the discretion of staff.
Thank you.
Good. All right. Any comments before I take the vote from the council? Looks like I already had enough discussion. So let's take the vote. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstention? The motion carries. So so we have the motion approved. Thank you. So let's go to the next item, which is 25G05, which is about annual proclamation list. Who is going to take from the staff side? Is that Ms. Allen?
My apologies.
Yes.
Yes.
Mr. Young, one of you. It should be pretty straightforward. Ms. Allen?
Yes, my apologies. I haven't, I didn't switch pages yet. So, we have the proclamation list that was in the packet. There are 4 items that were highlighted. Excuse me, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 items that were highlighted that were not in the 2024 list. And then I sent you 2 other ones that Councilmember Hernandez has asked that request to be placed on this annual list. So it's more or less it's up to the council on what you would like to have in your annual proclamation list.
All right, what does the council think? I see a couple of hands. Looks like there's a lot of interest, which is a good thing. I'll go by the list on the Zoom, starting with Mr. Hugh. Councilor Hugh, please.
Yeah, thank you. I had sent around a past proclamation of the American Legion youth program they have. It was normally for the month of April. Is that something we could add back on? I can share it again if people have not seen it.
Yeah, is it something they do every year? Is it a yearly thing?
That's, well, when I read the language of it, it looks like it was.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I think I've seen it. I haven't read all the language, but I've seen it. Thank you for sharing that, Miss Whitney.
Yes. Two things. The first one, I would like us to have a proclamation for National First Responders Day on October 28th. And as part of that, I would like us, I know we don't need to go into nitty-gritty of language, but my point is also that I would like to recognize the great percentage of volunteers we have as first responders, not only in College Park, but across the county and the country. And then that would allow us to recognize police, EMTs, medics, career and volunteer firefighters on October 28th. The second item, and I really need the institutional knowledge of council members in this meeting for this, but I believe at one point council issued a One College Park resolution. Is that, does anyone have a recollection of that? I thought there may have been one in the wake of the murder of Lieutenant Richard Collins III, basically just emphasizing the statement about One College Park that we commonly read about the kind of city we are, and that we're an inclusive city that is loving to all peoples. And I thought if we have an existing resolution that states that, I would love for that to be an annual thing, and perhaps to have that at the end of January.
Thank you. Does the staff think of that One College Park resolution or proclamation?
And my apologies, I meant to email and I just totally lost track of that question.
I'm taking a look now. I just don't know exactly what year. I thought it was 2022, but I don't see it.
No, it was. I think it was around George Floyd when we talked about One College Park.
Okay, was it? All right.
Yeah.
I will find that proclamation and send it out to Mayor and Council, and we can always add it. We have the procedures in our list of how to add it, so we can always add it. But I'll look for it and I'll send it out to everyone.
Okay. Thank you for your time.
Thank you,
everybody.
Thank you. We can always make the ad proclamation during the year. For example, the four yellow highlighted items, those are added during the year. They're not really added in the beginning of the year. So you can always add them if needed. Mayor Pro Tem Mitchell, I saw your hand, but don't say it now. Anyway, Ms. Mackey, please go.
Actually, I'll defer to my colleague because she sent something around.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Councilman Mackey. And thank you to Councilman Whitney and Hugh for your recommendations. I wanted to put for the month of May, mental health awareness, a proclamation, since we all have been advocating for that since COVID and thereafter. And we have Care Solace as one of our actual components and to help the residents and students in the community. I wanted to do that. And I wanted to also acknowledge in the same month, National Foster Care Month. We have several families who are fostering children, and I think that's another added addition that we should recognize.
Thank you. And I see Ms. Mackey, please go ahead.
Yes, thank you. I wanted to put forward Autism Awareness Month in April. We have some children in our city that have autism, and I thought it would be a nice thing for us to do a proclamation for that. We also, our schools have teachers that are specialists in dealing with autistic children, and to honor not only children with autism, but the teachers that do teach them. And great minds think alike. Councilmember Whitney mentioned the volunteer firefighters, of which that was one of the ones I wanted to bring forward. We could proclaim for many, but those are the ones that I just thought would be nice for this year. Thank you.
Thank you. Before you go to Mr. Hernandez, Ms. Allen, how many we have total new, including the 4, those are highlighted in the packet? All the requested ones?
We have 5 additional, maybe 6.
In total, there are 6 plus 4?
Correct.
So we'll be adding 10 more in the new year to the list. Can you?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay, so we have the 4 highlighted in the packet. Can you give the list of the other 6 council members suggested? The one is the first responder one.
First responders, maybe One College Park. Mental Health Awareness Month.
Autism.
Natural Foster Care, Child Care Month. Autism Awareness Month. And possibly the American Legion, which I would have to look into that one to see if it's still up and running.
Okay. So there are 6 of them. And Mr. Hernandez, you're going to add 2 more, I think. Please go ahead.
Yes, and I don't need to speak on this if you guys have already made this decision, but just for the residents watching, I've made the recommendation for the city to add a proclamation for the Hostage and Wrongful Detainee Day, which the United States recently signed into law. Many of you may be aware that the 2 flags that are flown on every institution from the national level perspective is the U.S. American flag and the POW flag. Now, last year, President Biden signed into law the Wrongful Detainee and Hostage Day on March 9th, and that flag is actually a part of the 3 that the U.S. uses. Every year, U.S. nationals travel unknowingly abroad and can be arbitrarily detained without warning solely for the U.S. affiliation. It's my belief that a proclamation from the city can help raise awareness for folks and hopefully deter and prevent the victims of this terrible hostage practice. And then separately, I'm making the recommendation to proclaim November as the National Veterans and Military Families Month. We have a lot of different organizations here who service veterans, but we also have a lot of veterans here and their families. College Park hosts the American Legion Post 217, Veteran Foreign War Post 5627, the UMD, ROTCs, which are the candidates that are going to one day be officers in the U.S. military. And of course, we have the College Park Airport, which began as an Army site. So those are the 2 recommendations that I have.
So thank you. So in total, currently we have 8, and if we add those 4 highlighted yellow colored items, so there are 12. I counted right now. Last year, we had 24 items in the annual list, so that was going to be 36 with the 12 added. Just to give you a summary. Ms. Mackey, you have a comment?
I'm sorry, I didn't lower my hand. I just wanted to say that did I say April for autism awareness? So.
Correct, yes.
Okay. All right. Anyone has any comments? Dr. Esters. So please go ahead.
Yes, I do not have another proclamation to add. However, I do think it would be important and helpful if there is any way that we can see if there's any overlap with things that are currently already on our list, to see if language can be added that speaks specifically to some of these things that have been put forth. I'm not saying that anything should not exist, but I do think that there may be opportunity given some of the proclamations that we already have.
Thank you. Staff can look into it. All right. Any further comments? So just to summarize, we had 24 items in the list, and now that list is going to grow to 36 item list. Just to summarize, Ms. Allen, my number is correct? 24 plus 12?
We're off, you and I are off one, but I'll double check them.
Okay. All right. So there is a suggested motion in the motion sheet. At this point, I'm going to entertain a motion.
I motion.
No, go ahead.
Oh, I don't really know. I was going to say I motion to submit for the year 2024, 2025, the list of proclamations mentioned.
Second. Oh, sorry.
Sorry, during this meeting. Sorry.
All right. Any comment, Mr. Hernandez, before we take the votes?
I think we've had enough discussion on this.
Thank you. Let's go to the audience before we take the vote. Anyone wants to speak on this item? If you want to speak, please raise your virtual hand and we'll allow you to speak. Thank you. All right, let's come back. Any comments before we take the vote? If not, all in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstention? The motion has been approved. And Ms. Allen, you'll be putting the list in the minutes, right? That's where you'll be finding out.
I'll put it in the minutes and it'll be on the back of the future agendas.
Good. Thank you. All right. The very last action, not action item, is a work session. Is the 25G06 is a review and adoption of council rules and procedures. Again, is Ms. Allen, you're going to speak on that? Take it up.
So we have the Mayor and Council Rules of Procedures. We usually approve them after an election year. However, Council has suggested that they wanted to review them. That's why I don't have it for anything for action at this time. I didn't know if you wanted to review, discuss, make any changes. We're here to help and guide you.
Thank you. I see some email traffic with some suggestion. I think Mr. Hernandez, you made some suggested changes. Are you still interested?
No, so that's why I sent it out to my colleagues ahead of time, and they provided some good feedback back, and I don't see the need to specify some of the recommendations. But I guess I'll just use this opportunity to remind folks that we're in a position where we have to hold ourselves up to a higher standard. I remind myself of this every day, and when I don't, my colleague Councilmember Esters reminds me. So it's she does it in the best way. But yeah, I really do. It's just sometimes our residents are gonna disagree with us, and I truly just don't. I hesitate for there to be any level of even appearance that we're using our office to come at them. And it's such a complicated thing, but some at the national level have kind of made it very personal. They'll come personally at people, and I just don't want that to look like, I don't want that to reflect at City Council of College Park any resemblance of it. So but I really appreciate it. So I have nothing to add, but thank you.
Thank you. Good reminder. Mayor Protem, please go ahead.
No, thank you, Mr. Mayor, and thank you, Councilor Hernandez, for sharing your thoughts. And I appreciate where you're coming from. I think if we're not trying to have a full, robust discussion this evening, we are going to be having somewhat of a retreat or something. We could possibly take more time to review and then discuss then, and that would be my recommendation. But thank you again, Mr. Mayor, for letting me speak.
Thank you. Mr. Young, I know you told us last time, not the retreat, but the advance, right? That's the term you like to use. Are you still working on that?
We are. Mr. Gardner, when he returns to the office tomorrow, it's his first top priority.
Fantastic. So you'll advance the advanced idea. Thank you. All right. Because it looks like there isn't any desire to make any changes to the council rules and procedure, it looks like we don't need to bring it back. Ms. Allen, we don't need to approve it again, right? Because it's already been approved as is.
That's correct.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, I had a question for the city attorney.
Please go ahead.
Yes. A resident asked me, are residents allowed to see what is in the red folder? And I didn't really know how to respond to her question.
The red folder items are posted on the website. You have the agenda, and then right after the agenda, or sometimes it depends on how the website accepts it, it says red folder items for January 7th.
That's what I thought, right? I thought that they were on there. So they're like posted like right before the meeting so that the people can, during the meeting, look at the red folder items, correct?
No, we do not post them because we do not get them until about 5 o'clock.
Oh, okay. So they're posted for the next meeting.
No, they'll be posted tomorrow as well as the video of the meeting.
Okay, I got you. Okay. Yeah, I was getting my timelines mixed up. Okay.
And it's on the agenda portion where you can find the agenda, mayor and council agendas. It's right underneath it.
Okay. All right. I will pass that information on. Thank you very much for answering.
You're welcome.
Thank you. All right. So next item in the agenda is the request for or asking about the status of the future agenda items. I didn't see any application. Any question about the agenda, future agenda items? Probably not. I see one hand. Mr. Adams.
Yeah, you didn't get the 10 I submitted the other day?
Which one?
I think those were in the PS, right?
Oh, yeah. That was in the PS. You reread the resignation letter in the bottom, you'll see some.
I see. Yeah, we'll remember that. Thank you. Those are good ideas. Please keep them sending. Keep them sending. You still know our email addresses. You know the CPMC email. You know how to contact us. I'm sure you'll have many good ideas, and we'd love to hear from you. All right. At this point, I'd like to go to the audience. If anyone wants to speak anything, there's a time. You'll have 3 minutes to speak. Please raise your virtual hand, and we'll allow you to speak. Seeing none, let's come back to the council. Let's start with council comments with Mr. Rigg, District 3.
Yeah, I'll pass. Thank you.
And Mr. Adams, last word.
I'm sorry. I almost passed. I wanted to note for my council colleagues, I will be out of town and at my brother's wedding out of the country at my brother's wedding next week. So I will not be available for this call.
Enjoy it. Thank you. We'll miss it. Mr. Adams.
I'll give you a quick trivia item and then I'll say thank you to everyone. But College Park now has one of the 10 our largest market cap companies in Maryland. We mentioned IonQ back in, I think, October, November, but their stock has skyrocketed and it's now an $11 billion company. So, hopefully we can grow with them and continue to prosper like that. But that's just they're part of the phenomenon of quantum computing stocks that's been just taken off. But I just want to close and just say thank you to everyone. Thank you to the residents. Thank you to city staff. Thank you to my colleagues. It's been awesome as a council member, and I know you'll still hear from me, and I look forward to seeing you in person in March when we put together the next council member puts in place and help them succeed. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Then go to Councilmember Mackey from District 4.
Yes, thank you. In this new year, I would like just to encourage our residents to consider joining the curbside food scrap program. It's a great program, and it really has helped our tipping fees for the city, and it's also very good for the environment. So, and it's really actually so many things are compostable. They have compostable plates and cups, and you really feel like you're helping your environment. So I'd like to, in this new year, encourage the residents of College Park to do the food scrap, curbside food scrap composting. Thank you.
Thank you for the reminder. I think we also saw a advertisement telling us that if someone signs up in January, I think they will be getting a free cart, food scrap cart, probably. I think I'm correct. So they will not be charged for that. So there's one other reason we should be joining. Mayor Pro Tem Mitchell?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I wanted a couple points. I wanted to tell my colleagues that the mayor, Councilmember Hugh, and myself last Thursday attended a meeting in regards to the fire department and the issues with the staffing. We were invited by the city of Brentwood as well as the city of Mount Rainier. They're having another meeting this Thursday to continue the conversation and hopefully to task the concerns that we have amongst the municipalities to the prospective county executive candidates when there will be a forum. We don't know as of yet. Also, I did attend the PGCMA Legislative Committee meeting the other day, and I just want to make my colleagues and the community, the residents of College Park aware that there is a discussion about land use authority as a whole collectively for those municipalities who are interested. The increase of the municipal infraction from $1,000 to $5,000 to mirror the county, and also to reducing train speed on the CSX line to require 2 conductors. So those were some of the highlights from that meeting, and I will continue to give you updates on a weekly basis. And that's all, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. So something we forgot to acknowledge in the beginning, Mayor Pro Tem Mitchell, congratulations on being elected at the COG Board of Directors. This is a huge news for College Park, and I'm sure that you'll be a very strong advocate taking our issues forward. We appreciate your leadership and congratulations on your election. Thank you. Along with Mayor Pro Tem, I also attended the firefighters in the meeting. That was wonderful. The idea was to kind of making a list of priority items for our firefighters and advocating for those items to the candidates at the county executive elections, because there's an opportunity you can ask them, hey, these are our priority list. What do you think? What will you stand on these items? So we had a very fruitful discussions, and I believe they will be having another meeting this Thursday because some of the elected officials couldn't attend. Thank you. And we also last month we also attended PGCMA dinner. Many of you actually attended. That was wonderful to see many of our colleagues in the county. All right, let's go to Dr. Esters and then Ms. Whitney.
Thank you. A few things I wanted to mention. The upcoming celebration to commemorate Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. will include a variety of activities, including a Black History Tribute laser program, a screening of Selma, as well as ongoing support for and collection for the College Park Food Bank. And I'm mentioning the screening and the laser program because you need to sign up. Admission is free. This will all take place on January 20th, which is Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s birthday, when it is recognized, and would love to encourage people to attend and partake. The collection for the College Park Food Bank will take place the entire month. So it began January 1st through the 31st of this month. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Whitney?
Thank you. First of all, I wanted to also recognize the Lakewood Civic Association for their help shoveling residents out of their homes over the past couple of days. And then also I would like to encourage as many residents as possible to join Neighbors Helping Neighbors and to sign up to help them do this very important work, and maybe make it a little less difficult for them to get people together to do this when such emergencies arise. So thank you, and thanks for everyone who stepped up.
Thank you. Thank you. They did a fantastic job as always. And I appreciate Mr. Robert Thurston's leadership. He has been such an active leader. Lakeland is very lucky to have him as a community leader. Let's go to Mr. Hugh.
Yes, I'll only add to what Mayor Pro Tem and the Mayor mentioned about the firefighters forum that we attended. I was able to add input because I attended the Fire Ops 101 with Councilmember Adams. We learned a lot about the process of the challenges of the firefighters, and that contributed to the conversation. And I encouraged the rest of my colleagues to, if you have the time to take that course. It was very insightful. The other thing is, as we're having a snow event coming up Saturday. Hopefully it's not as bad as this past one. And let this past one be sort of an awareness thing, that if you notice that there were any residents who were not dug out, that might be seniors, it might not have been part of Neighbors Helping Neighbors, anybody who seemed like in need of being assistance of being shoveled out, please let one of us know so we can add them to the list of people who will need that kind of assistance. Yeah, I'll leave it at that. Thank you.
Thank you. And also, if one of you wants to help out your neighbors, senior neighbors, or people with disabilities with the snow shoveling, please let us know. We also need many volunteers, and Neighbors Helping Neighbors will be very happy to have you. Thank you. Mr. Hernandez, finally. Councilman.
I just wanted to say that I had the opportunity to speak with the organizer of the firefighter event on the phone because I was away. We spoke for like an hour and about some campaign ideas to make sure that it is a topic of discussion for the person who chooses to run for county executive. It's been an issue. It was an issue for the previous county executive as well. So looking forward to whoever's coming in making this a priority in their upcoming administration, or at least their campaign. So that's all I have. I don't have anything else. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's go to the city. Actually, Ms. Allen has our student liaison, deputy student liaison, has joined.
No, she sent me a message. She's having internet issues.
Okay, that's fine. Let's go to our city manager, Mr. Young. Final thoughts?
No thoughts really tonight. Just thank everybody. Stay safe and warm, and be careful stepping out there on the ice this evening. That's all I have tonight.
Thank you, and stay warm. Thank you, and that's all we have. I would entertain a motion to adjourn. We do not have a closed session.
So moved. Motion to adjourn.
Motion moved by.
Second.
Moved by
Mr. Adams.
Moved by Councilman Adams for the final motion, and seconded by Mr. Rigg. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstention? So we are adjourned. Good night, College Park.
Right.